Y'all, hey! So today I wanted to do a review on that new movie that came out on Hulu, which is called Bad Hair, which, I mean, let's talk about it! Let's talk about it, because I'm ready to talk. You ready to hear me talk? Because I'm ready to talk. So stay tuned. So the movie opens up with two girls in a room together. I can only assume that they are sisters. And basically, the younger girl is annoying her. The younger sister is being annoying. And another thing about this is that I noticed that the older sister, she has straight hair. She is way lighter skinned. The younger sister is darker. And she has kinky, coily hair, but it's some white stuff on it. So as she begins to complain about how much it burns, I can only assume, I'm like, that girl getting a perm. So yes, it turns out she is getting a perm. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I can only remember the days. I am a natural girl. I know you see these bundles. But yes ma'am, I am natural. However, I used to get perms back in the day, back before I was liberated. Okay, so when she's talking about that burning, I'm like, girl, I understand, especially when you was itching and scratching your scalp before you got a fresh perm. That's how you know, because you're not supposed to do that. That's what really have your scalp burning. The older sister, she is washing her out for her and saying slick comments about, well, you might look like my sister now that she is about to have straight hair. So from that, then we learned that she is adopted, the younger sister. So then the movie transitions on to the younger sister growing up. Now she is an young adult woman tangling with her own hair. As we can see, she is natural hair, meaning that she did not get the perm. She did not get any more perm. She just stayed natural. This more than likely is because sister got burnt. She got burnt. Her scalp was, oh my gosh, it was so burned in one spot. It looked so painful. In this moment, I started to remember, I don't know if any of you ever seen the documentary that Chris Rock did titled Bad Hair. It was so informative. It's really interesting because I was actually watching that while I was transitioning, and to learn that sodium hydroxide, which is a main ingredient which straightens hair, basically, I mean, it is very poisonous to the scalp. Anything that burns should not be on your scalp. And not only that, but sodium hydroxide is also one of the main active, meaning working, ingredients in Nair. You know, that hair removal thing that you use, Nair, it has sodium hydroxide. So that also is what is responsible for the negative effects that perming has on black women's hair. Walking into office, as usual, she gets all of these funny stares because she refuses to assimilate to the Western European standard of beauty, which is the straighter hair texture. Come on now. So she's getting all of these funny stares, and we learned that she's been working in this company for 4 years. 4 years, and people still 4 years, and people still seem to be astonished by her natural hair. So I eventually caught on to the fact that this movie, like, is set in the 80s, because I keep seeing shoulder pads. And you know the little circles and triangles and rectangular pattern thingy they used to, you know, the retro look. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. So with that, and also they had Kelly Rowland, which I loved, by the way, doing all of these 80s parody music videos. Wow, they are debuting Sandra's new music video, which is Sandra is Kelly Rowland. Again, I absolutely love Kelly Rowland being the the pop mega star in this movie because she is a dark-skinned woman. So seeing that, it really just warmed my heart because it's the representation. It is the positive representation for dark-skinned black women for me. Anyway, so while they are doing this, we get all of this commentary from the women behind the scenes watching the video about, oh my gosh, is that a new nose? Oh my gosh, what is that, a wig? Is it a fresh perm? Is she mixed? What is it that is on this woman's head? Because she is just whipping it and running with it, and child, it ain't going nowhere. It is stuck. It is slayed and laid. And I'm listening to this like, oh my gosh, this is it's so funny hearing it because it's so old now. It's so old now. Like, we're so used to seeing these things, seeing all of these different ways that women wear their hair now. So the commentary was just hilarious. I literally felt like I was in a time machine or something. That scene is actually very important because that's when we see that this new wave of wearing a weave, sew-ins, is becoming more popularized because they see megastars such as Sandra in the movie doing it. Oh, the main character, she actually goes on an interview before work. She goes on an interview for another company where she's trying to get a hosting job, but they were looking for someone more rock or whatever. Basically, she's a dark-skinned woman with kinky, curly, natural hair, very tightly coils, thick. So they was like, they ain't having it, right? So as she's walking out of this interview, she sees all of these other women in line, and none of them are nowhere near her shade of being as dark as her, and they all had looser curl types of hair. So that's a note because it is giving us a notion that having natural tightly coiled hair is not the look, which, I mean, even now, nothing has changed. So another important scene to note in this movie is that the former executive producer of Culture was removing herself from the company, and this woman, oh my gosh, her locks are so beautiful. I was so in love when I saw them. They were so long and thick, and there were just so many of them, and her hair was so beautiful, natural, and kinky and thick. I loved it so much. I got a very much so Lisa Bonet vibe from her. A very much so Lisa Bonet, earthy. I like to light my candles, incense, and turn on my essential oil diffuser. I take my spiritual baths every Sunday, and if you got me messed up, I'ma definitely hit you with some Palo Santo or some sage. Those are the vibes I got from her. That being said, that is actually very important to know. She is a black woman who refuses to assimilate. She is a black woman who is rooted in her history. So her stepping down because she is not agreeing with the way that the company was transitioning makes perfect sense, because the person they decide to take her position is a more ambiguous woman, more white passing woman. She has very light skin. She has a weave like mine and blue eyes. You can get a very much so nonsensical type vibe because she not having it. Very much so expensive taste. I'ma do what it takes to get it done. Even that means compromising my morals. This new woman coming in, she comes in, and basically everyone who was working for the previous woman, they have to reapply for these jobs. They have to do interviews over to get different positions. So as the main character, she is going in for an interview, learned that the block is completely her idea and that she actually wanted to produce and host. But again, going back to the look thing, she was not able to do that. So the person who ended up getting that hosting gig was Julius. Was a darker skinned man named Julius. And let me just point out the patriarchy real quick. Let me just point out the double standard real quick. Because whereas the main character, she couldn't have natural hair on camera, but this guy who had an afro as well was able to actually come up from that. Because women, even in society now, are shunned if you have a certain type, kinkier, coilier, tighter hair texture. It is shunned for you to wear your hair out in public. Because they make jokes like, oh my gosh, you look like a dude, and all of this stuff. Because that even that type of hair is translated and related to masculinity, which is beyond me. Texturism. That's the word. That's what this whole movie is about. Texturism. So anyway, I wanted to point out that double standard in the patriarchy because he literally did nothing. He was a receptionist and was able to get this job. And so she asks her, who does your hair? And when she asked that question, it really just brought me back to my childhood and younger days. I was one of those girls who never, ever, ever got her hair done. Ever. After I got old enough for me to start doing my own hair and my mom not doing it anymore, that's what happened. I did it. And especially once I went natural, the comments and the stares and the questions I got. Okay? Because to me doing a twist out or a Bantu night out is getting my hair done. It is a hairstyle. I had to do it. It's a hairstyle. Just because I don't go to the hair salon doesn't mean I don't get my hair done. I do it myself. A whole bunch of like PTSD came from that question itself. And so she basically, urges her like, look, if you want to be on my team, if you want that hosting gig, then you need to assimilate. You need to assimilate and basically go throw some European hair on your head because I can't take a child. That's essentially what she is saying. Can become one of her workers. So she ends up going to her adoptive parents' house for dinner, and right here we notice that she gives both of her parents a hug and skips over her sister, which is understandable because her sister was a so that just goes to show that their relationship is not strong. On top of that, this is where she gets her hands on this book that consisted of the Hair Moss Girl, which is what started all of this. And after that, sis started complaining about. One thing I want to point out is that they also brought up something that needs to be addressed very much so, which is gentrification. That is why her rent increased $500. An extra $500? That apartment she was living in definitely was not due for an extra $500. And she was complaining to her adoptive mom about it being because the white people moved in. And we all know somehow white people increase property value and are gentrifying the hoods. We all know how that works. So I really enjoy how they still brought up those other important conversations as well. Her adoptive mom gives her the money for her rent, but guess what she went to do with it? Now I was like, girl, I know you didn't. You not. So you about to be out here looking fine as hell with nowhere to stay? But anyway, so yeah, y'all, she ended up going to Virgie's to get her hair done instead of paying the rest of her rent. Talking about this whole scene right here was nothing but a PTSD experience for me. Because as soon as she asked the question, are you tender-headed? I said, I answered the question myself. Yes, ma'am, I am. I am very much so tender-headed. Poor baby. She grabbed that thin rat tail comb ain't putting not a lick of moisture, not a lick of water on her hair before she started getting to work and digging in her hair. Oh, I felt the pain. I felt the pain of that rat tail comb trying to separate those kinky coils. I swear it brought me back to the days when my mama used to do my hair on Saturday mornings. My scalp is pulsating, not thinking about it. The satire in this film is just, but honestly, this part of the film, it's not even satire, because being tender-headed, trying to get your hair done, trying to get braids is real. I can only get braids once a year because I can only endure that type of pain once a year. Literally once a year. Because it's the tugging of the scalp. You having to move with the comb. Come on now. I know you understand me. Listen, if you dealt with tender-headed issues, comment below because it's real out here for us. No wig. And who is this? Baby, that's how she walked in to the job the next day. And we all ladies who get our wigs and weaves and hair and all of these other extensions. You know how it feels once you get that new hairdo. You feeling like a whole different type of woman. Feeling yourself because you cute. Like we know how that feels. And getting the stares as extra validation. Oh, you feel like you're on top of the world. I really love how they address how assimilating to white Western European standards of beauty gets you access to the men that you want and gets you access to the job occupations that you want as well. One scene that really had me tripping is the day that she comes home from work and her landlord, which is really just a gross, disgusting guy if you ask me, has been harassing her for an extra $500 of rent when she's already paid rent. So she just supposedly grabbing out her I guess. Anyway, he ends up breaking into her apartment. And first of all, let me just say, she too calm for me. She was too calm for me because, I mean, I could have been naked anything, especially after a long day of work. Shoot, I like to take my pants off as soon as I get in the house. So she was way too calm for me when she saw him talking about oh, I have your extra money. Girl, where's your gun so you can shoot him? Oh, trigger warning.
Warning.
For all of my people, he tries to rape her. And thank God for the evil hair, because the evil hair actually killed his ass. Come on. Hello, you ain't got to worry about rent no more. I know that hair is supposed to be evil or whatever, but I actually really enjoyed the fact that the hair is actually working in her favor as far as defending her against like men who did her dirty. After she reads the story, basically she like manifests her weave becoming evil, and her weave is actually like energy and souls of dead witches trying to come back to life. Crazy, right? They feed off of blood to get more strength and power. Sister Soldier as well, just we can tell by the name she ain't with that. She's very much so conscious. There's actually a scene where it cuts to and she's fussing. She's letting the people know that I will not change none of my moral code in order to get the things I want. And I absolutely loved it because that's me. Don't let this wig fool you, because these were birthday bundles. All right. These were birthday bundles, so I gotta wear them. Because any other day, you catching a fro. You catching some kiki curly hair, okay? But anyway, so again, the topic of having to assimilate. Having to not only assimilate physically, but even the things, the topics that you want to discuss. You cannot, because the whole network, the company, was moving to wanting to have... And I love the play on words that she did when calling them out, saying basically you want to change my appearance to a whiter wider audience. It was nice to see someone at least try to really put their foot down. And unfortunately, the European man in her head got to the best of her, because she actually ends up coming in one day to work with a cute little curly wig. I was like, oh my God, that's cute. So she also ends up assimilating as well. And we can tell by the time that she assimilates and puts on this weave, it's like she almost becomes zombie-like immediately, because this is not something she really wants to do. Where it really begins to get crazy at is when the main character, she's like, oh my God, this hair is like really freaking evil. Now it's just out to kill anyone, not just the people who I want revenge of. So she learns that trying to cut it doesn't help. The hair will try to kill you if you try to cut it. Zora, it comes to no surprise that she ends up being the evil light-skinned woman whose hair is attacking everybody and it's on like a complete killing spree at the end of the movie. So this is when it gets really freaking ridiculous. I'm talking about, it's really giving me scary movie vibes about how ridiculous it is. I mean, this hair is doing all type of things. It's choking, tripping, cutting, everything, killing these people. One scene that really had me weak is towards the very end of the movie, where she finds a gun under the desk, and for a minute she got your face on, and then we realized that the gun had fire in it. It wasn't a real gun with bullets. So she came up with a brilliant idea to trigger the water sprinklers to come on during a fire. Very smart. But this was actually really clever, because, you know, us women, we don't like to get our hair wet. That's the #1 rule when you wear a wig, a weave, or any type of hair extension. It mustn't get wet, because after that, your life is over. And not only does it symbolize as just, you know, the hair being ruined, but also from the Wizard of Oz, where the witch got destroyed, water was thrown on her. So if this hair is basically just like evil witch energy, then it also makes sense that water destroyed the hair as well. So very smart. The takeaways that I got from this movie, #1 is the addressing of assimilation, the addressing of how Western European society and the standards of beauty has poisoned Black people, brainwashed us all, and not only that, but it has put us in very compromising predicaments, because it's either you assimilate and get all of this stuff that you want, but you are betraying yourself and your morals and what you really naturally would want to do in order to really become accomplished, or you can stay in a position where you are, although you are fully aligning with yourself and your values, you can't even do basic stuff like afford rent. You can't do basic stuff like move up in a company that you've been with for 4 years, that you've given your all to, because of the way that you look. So that is one. The second thing, although women, we're not literally possessed when we get a new hairdo, such as a weave or a wig or a frontal wig. However, in some type of way or form of fashion, it does boost our confidence a lot. Not only is it just the thought of getting your hair done, but a lot of women who still subscribe to Western European standards of beauty, who do not believe in the beauty, have not subscribed to Afrocentric beauty, they really do have anti-Blackness for the way that their hair looks. So they genuinely do believe that this type of hair looks better, and also project their insecurities onto other Black women as well. I don't know if you guys caught the symbolism towards the end of the movie when we learned that it's these white guys who have possession of this evil moss hair tree and is like, oh my gosh, they can do whatever they want with it. And so what happens is they're redistributing it. So that was most definitely, if you ask me, done on purpose, because the people who are redistributing, who are buying and selling this hair for a whole lot of money to black women are white people and non-black people, because they are aware of black women's insecurity with their own natural hair type. They are aware of the complete agenda for us to assimilate to Western European society. In conclusion, I believe for bad hair to be a really good satirical, scary, comedic movie. I really enjoyed the commentary, the symbolism, and I believe, at least I think all black women should watch it, because it does have a lot of truth in it when it comes to how black women feel about weaves and natural hair.